6:30, so everyone please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, it's awesome to have a full house. Mr. Greg Riedel, who is running for state senator, found out what it's like to come through Whiteville with the train stop, so he'll be here in a little bit. Remember that number that it has to call down there? Yeah. So, we do have a full agenda this evening, so Haley, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Davis? Here. Mr. Basic?
Here.
Mrs. Fenster?
Here.
Mrs. Gill? Here. Mrs. Clyde?
Here.
Mrs. Sherrick? Here.
Okay, on pages 1 through 4, we have the March 9th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve March 9th minutes.
Second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Davis? Yes. Mr. Basic?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenster?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick? Yes.
And on pages 5 through 8, we have the March bank reconciliations.
I'll motion to approve on March 26th bank rep.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Well, hold on a minute. She said that she.
Mrs. Davis? Yes. Mr. Basic?
Here.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenster?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill? Yes. Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick? Yes.
And on pages 9 through 10, the March 2026 vouchers.
Make a motion to approve March vouchers.
Second that.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Davis? Yes. Mr. Basic?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenster?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill? Yes. Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick? Yes.
And on pages 11 through 13, the March 26 gas and ERUs.
I'll motion to approve the March 2026 gas and ERUs.
I'll second.
Any questions? Hearing none, then would you please call that roll?
Mrs. Davis? Yes. Mr. Basic?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenster?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill? Yes. Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick? Yes.
And finally, the first quarter of the year gas and ERU adjustments, pages 14 through 24. And Haley has been so kind to list every little reason out.
I'll make the motion to approve
Second.
the first quarter gas and ERU adjustment.
Did you second it?
I did.
Thank you. Any other questions or anything on that? Okay, hearing none, then would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Davis? Yes. Mr. Basic?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenster?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill? Yes. Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now for the fun part of the evening.
House training.
Mr. Endonian, we understand that you have a big date coming up here for 25 years for serving the village of Macomb in the park. So we have a couple things for you. Let's give him an applause. And what makes it extra special is your daughter is the president of council. She is going to present this to you. You want the whiteboard in the back?
Sure. That's fine. Come here.
This is a moment for the record books.
Okay, on behalf of the mayor, the council, am I missing anybody else? The administrator, and in the park we want to present you with 25 years of service. Senator McCall.
Thank you.
You get in here too, Kathy. Okay, great.
You gotta move the chair.
Yeah, move that chair.
Am I stepping in?
Okay, well, John, before you take your seat, you want to...
I got a phone call, for what? Last week. From Robbie Kuroga. And he asked if, we could name a certain thing out there in the park after you. Council
Not the toilet.
overwhelmingly said yes. So, we have a little banner we'll stick on.
So we get the permanent sign.
Over there.
Nice.
We will get this hung up out there, but then we'll get a nice permanent sign for you, Don.
Also, the boys stopped by today. This is from Ross, Neil, and all the team right now. And Robbie, because he's the one who dropped it off.
Don't
One more
allow
time,
his
one more
name,
time.
so,
Hold
come on.
Here.
and your clock and your ball down.
Okay, I'll hold it.
Great feeling.
Yeah, I'll get in here. You instigated those.
John, you'll be fixing every time that falls down.
Don't hang it upside down, please.
We thought we would do this first, Don, because we do have some cupcakes back over there. So as soon as the man in charge after 25 years gets his favorite one back there, the rest of you, please go grab a cupcake.
Am I done?
But wait.
We'll see you tomorrow morning, right away. No, congratulations. Okay?
Thank you, Don, you're wonderful.
Everyone grab a cupcake, Don. Did you see this cake? We'd like to have
You
your
can have
picture
two.
with the cake. It's got the ball diamond on
Get the
it.
big one. No, I'll take the corner one.
Take the middle one.
He wants the outfield.
Just one's all you get, Don.
The rest of you,
Yes, I got this for you.
don't be
Uh-huh.
shy. Come on.
You wanna get a cupcake?
You want a cupcake? Jody will. Come on, Jody.
Justin, you want a cupcake, don't you?
Oh, yeah. You want a cupcake?
Chocolate or white?
Which one would you like?
Chocolate or white?
You sure?
I guess I can leave. I thought it was gonna be named after me.
Next one. They got a thing out there they're gonna name after you.
Number 145 or number 245?
Yeah, number two, he's the biggest one. Yeah, congratulations.
Good job.
Leah, you want to get a cupcake? Sure.
You want more of this?
I want us to do it.
He's like,
Come on, you
Okay,
decide.
next time.
next time.
Go do it.
Let me get you sugar in it.
You want this one or chocolate?
Cupcakes in the back? Here's another.
I don't
Sure,
know.
it's all yours.
I don't wanna get all like that.
There you go.
I'm kind of late.
We'll pass them down.
Pass it down. Don't be here for us.
Oh, you need napkins? Oh.
Uh-oh.
No way did she drop one.
No, there's a lot crossing in the middle.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, sure. I don't want to thank you.
He's still joking.
You got one? Appreciate it.
I'll take one there.
You want anything?
Cake in a cup. I think it's tonight. I don't think it comes over.
Hey, Jeff.
Bite out of it.
Jeff. So you're aware. Twenty-five years. My father was here. That's great. Getting recognized. That's great. That's great.
One very important
Hey, you sit right up there.
Oh, no, thank you.
We're done with what
I'm
we
gonna have
came
to
for.
talk.
Congratulations. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks, there you go. Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome. There's plenty more, so,
You leaving already?
Hey, don't forget your train, my gosh.
Jared? Does she have one?
This is
I
hers.
did,
Okay,
thanks,
got it.
John,
Okay.
for all
Thank you,
those
guys.
years.
I wish, but yeah.
Okay.
Thank you,
We'll
guys.
see you. Thanks for coming.
Well, you don't match 25 years, Greg,
No, I don't.
but.
Not deserving of a cupcake.
His turn.
My cupcake.
His turn.
You only get a quarter.
Only get right.
Want to get break?
I didn't see you there. How are you?
Greg started
This is going on Facebook, right?
on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 5 years ago, so 5 years and a few extra days, so, when was this?
April 1st, that's right. So, all right, well, congrats, Greg, for 5 years of your service. We definitely appreciate you for all that you do for us. And we would like to hopefully meet Match Dad. It's only
You can't do that.
20 more years.
You gonna scare him off?
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Most days, yes.
Thanks,
Well,
Kathy. And thanks, Kathy, for providing the cupcakes. Appreciate it.
Kathy Cook has taken the position for upfront to be the utility clerk. She had planned on being here tonight, but she has a little 18-month-old little girl, Lillian, who is ill. So she felt really bad, but hopefully she will be here officially probably the 27th of this month. She works till 10:30 in the morning, so there might be a few afternoons before that she's going to come out and put in a few hours working with Haley. So I believe her resume was included in the packet. So if you stop in, please welcome Abby. As Beth will share, we had 35 applicants. It was a very difficult decision. We interviewed 5, I believe, or maybe did we up it 1? 5.
Five, yeah, we did 5.
And really, they were all good. I will say Abby is going to start out as part-time, so we're kind of flipping the roles from having a part-time fiscal and a full-time utility clerk. So we'll see how that works out. I think we're looking at maybe 3 days a week 8-hour days, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That way Haley will know for sure, okay, I won't be interrupted working on something heavy while she's here, and then the light days that people will be coming in, she can help out at front, so. Alrighty, I'm going to let Craig and Tim bump in front of you.
What?
I know.
I'm looking at this going, 3 minutes?
Well, that's why, Paulette, that's why I said, but they're politicians too. No. Craig Riedel joined us this evening, running for state senator. So, Craig, welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you for
There's
having-
really no center here, the way that it
This
is.
is probably okay, right? Thank you, Mayor. Kathy, thank you very much for having us. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Craig Riedel, and I'm running for state senator here in Northwest Ohio. It's 10 counties altogether. It runs from Williams County all the way to Logan County and everything in between, including Hancock County. I'm running to replace Rob McCulley. Rob has to vacate the seat at the end of this year. And I'll be on the May 5th Republican primary ballot. So the election is just 22 days away. This is my wife, Danette, right here. Danette and I, we live in Defiance. We've been married 37 years. We have a son and a daughter and 3 granddaughters. Actually, I mentioned we live in Defiance, but Danette and I actually grew up east of here. I grew up on a farm east of Attica in Seneca County, and Danette grew up in a small village in Crawford County called New Washington. I graduated from a small high school called Seneca East, went on to Ohio State. I graduated from Ohio State with a civil engineering degree in June of '88, and then that fall, Danette and I got married, and I took a job with a steel company called Nucor Steel, and that's what moved Danette and I out to Defiance at that time. I hired in at Nucor as an engineer. I mentioned I have a civil engineering degree. And I ended up working at Nucor Steel for 27 years. My background is entirely all private sector, 27 years, all with that one company and all in the steel industry. I retired from Nucor 10 years ago to run for state representative on the west side of the Senate district. And we won. I was a 3-term state representative as well. I used to represent Defiance, Paulding, Van Wert, and about half of Auglaize County, and that was an honor for Danette and I. I believe in limited government, fiscal responsibility. Danette and I, we are proudly pro-life. We're pro-life champions, and I'm a staunch Second Amendment defender. I'm a gun owner as well. I mentioned I grew up on that farm east of Attica, a couple miles. My dad was a state highway patrol officer. I grew up with 3 brothers, and my dad taught all of us how to handle a firearm properly. And as you can imagine, on a farm, there's plenty of groundhogs. So, and we're super excited for this opportunity. Just to give you an idea of some of the priorities that I feel, I think Ohio is primed these next 8 to 12 years. If we play our cards properly, we're in for some really terrific years, some very prosperous years for Ohio. But we got to play our cards right. And just a couple of things that are high priorities for me as a legislator is we definitely need to eliminate our income tax entirely and just go to a consumption tax. That's a competitive thing because we want to keep more people in Ohio, and if they believe they're going to be able to go home with more money in their pocket, they're going to be more inclined to live in Ohio, and particularly young people, because Ohio is blessed with natural resources. We have an abundance of water, and we have an abundance of electricity under the ground with natural gas. And those are the 2 key elements that businesses have to run their operations. For instance, in the steel industry where I came from, the #1 input when it comes to making steel is electricity. And so most companies, they need that, and they need that water as well. So we're poised here in Ohio to have some boom years if we play our cards right. So our candidacy has been endorsed by several conservative groups like Americans for Prosperity. We've been endorsed by several pro-life groups. We got A ratings with all 3 of the major gun groups as well. And we've also been endorsed by the next president of the Ohio Senate, which is going to be Bill Reineke. Bill lives in Tiffin, and it's already been decided in the years 27 and 28, Bill Reineke will be the president of the Ohio Senate, and Bill is supporting our candidacy. So just very excited for this opportunity. And I met Kathy last fall, right, Kathy?
Yeah.
We were here in Macomb going door to door, and we've been going door to door since last September. And since that time, we typically walk 4 to 5 days every week, 3 to 4 hours every afternoon. Today we were up in Wasion for about 4 hours. But in that time frame since September, we've gotten to over 20,000 homes. And we know that's going to pay dividends, so we're working incredibly hard. And Kathy, thank you for the invitation.
No problem.
It's a pleasure to be here. I know Josh passed out some poem cards that has more information about what we believe in. But really appreciate the opportunity to come here this evening to introduce ourselves, and look forward to working with you in the future. So, Kathy, thank you again for this opportunity.
Do you want any questions? Or?
I'd be happy if anyone has any questions at all. Yeah.
Now's your opportunity. Well, if this is your last stop, please help yourself to a cupcake. It's not frosting all over you as you.
Oh yeah.
Put something on the road. Yeah.
And I think Tim's going to speak after me, right?
Yes.
So if it's okay, Kathy, and I just want to tell you, I don't mean to be rude.
Oh.
Okay, but I want to visit or listen, be respectful of Tim and stay with while he speaks. And then after Tim speaks, if it's okay, we're going to head back to the Defiance.
That is
So I hope everybody
perfect.
takes offense to that. And I will take you up on that.
Make
Thank
sure
you.
you guys help yourself. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Tim brought us lots of money from the county commissioners tonight. Right, Tim?
I remember doing it before, I don't have any tonight.
I was banking on that
Yeah, I
tonight.
know. But there's always tomorrow.
Most of you know Tim Bechtel. He was very active in the daycare. We were successful with that. He helped us out with some funding to get that over the hump. So Tim is working to retain his spot on the commissioners. So
Board of
floor is
Commissioners.
yours.
You have 3 commissioners on the board. I have a card to pass out here too. Thank you for having me in tonight. I am the only commissioner up for election this cycle around. You don't want to pass it on to somebody else.
Thank you.
Yeah. The other 2 commissioners run on the presidential cycle, and my seat follows the state officer cycle, like the governor and the secretary of state and the treasurer, all of those. I have a very crowded field. I have 3 opponents, and this is in the Republican primary. One of the opponents could easily run against me as a Democrat, because he's never run in a Republican primary before. But so be it. That's how it goes with elections in Hancock County. I am a registered architect by trade. I have degrees from both Ohio State and Kent State. I'm actually the only architect, as the card says, that is a county commissioner in the state of Ohio, which makes me have a unique perspective on what I can bring to the board. And we have a lot of building projects going on. Our most notable recent completion is the Davis Judicial Center, where we're actually going to be at tomorrow for a series of meetings with the commissioners, and we're going to be hosting 3 other county commissioner boards in for an insurance consortium there at the Jacob Davis Judicial Center tomorrow. Just wanted to make sure that you associate the face. That's why I got my face on all the cards, so that when you go to the vote, you're voting. And I do request humbly your consideration for re-election. I was first appointed in 2016 from a field of 9 candidates. And then I ran for re-election in 2018 and 2022, and then this is my 3rd time running. And I really do enjoy it. It's not easy.
but it's very challenging, and it's very rewarding when we can help people and help communities like Muggo. Before I was a commissioner, when I was just an architect, I also was your designer for your municipal pool here many, many years ago. So I had a lot of fun with that replacement from what you had before. So I hope you're getting a lot of good use out of it, and I hope it lasts forever. But and of course it doesn't. I know.
We want to know how we can expand on that and make another deep end for more slides.
Even deeper, yeah.
Yes, and that I have a third grader who sent me a letter, so we may
I don't know, maybe deeper.
to expand on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The slides make all the difference in the world. So. You got a good set of slides, and that's what makes an afternoon.
And Paulette, shall we give them a test since you have an engineer and an architect here?
I was
for
going
our
to say,
project tonight?
what? This is perfect.
We were just talking before the meeting about engineers and architects. Engineers usually are more concerned about how everything works and not really how it looks. And architects are usually more concerned about how it looks and not how it works. So if we can
And
work
the
together.
cool thing about me is I'm concerned about how we pay for it.
Oh, my Paulette, so.
That's the project manager's job.
But Don's been around 25 years. Hey, Don, we need your help. Any questions for Tim?
I do appreciate your support.
Yep, thank you.
I love all you folks.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
She get one for this.
Oh, I'm not a constituent.
Oh,
I
do you know anybody who's around there?
I had one already.
Thank you.
Yep.
I put it in my phone today when I texted.
I know how much that literature costs, so.
Thank you.
Okay, Miss Paulette, let's save some money.
I have the delightful news of telling you that y'all's project came in really well when it went out to bid, and so we have some extra money to spend. Woo-hoo! So, I put together a little recap here for you on the funding out at Cody Bryner Park for the assorted park improvements that we have out there. If you recall, you guys had committed $300,000 in local cash towards this project at one of your budget hearings back in October of '24. You also pledged $20,000 of in kind. So that is volunteers helping, that is village staff cutting down trees, using village equipment. So we've got to do a little bit of paperwork to prove that you guys have invested that $20,000. But what that means is you get $320,000 through that Land and Water Conservation Fund, and that is already approved. We also went back and took a second bite at the apple and asked for NatureWorks funding, and you guys received the entire allocation that was set aside for Hancock County, and that is $26,082, and you must have a 25% local match for that. So to get the $26,000, you guys are on the hook for $8,694. If I recall, and I went through the application, we talked about scrapping the fence and seeing if we could take that money from the scrap of the old fence and using that as part of your 86, almost $8,700. And then we also referenced in the application that you may be able to apply to the Hancock County Park District for some of these funds as well. So, assuming all of those things come together, you have $654,776 to spend. Bids came in really good. Our engineer's estimate, it was significantly under that, and it's right around $500,000, just a few dollars less, is what the bids came in at. Those grants can also pay for the engineering services, so our fee was roughly $66,000, and so that grant can pay for 50% of that as well. So, how do you want to spend the extra $88,000 that you have left? So I gave you a couple of options. We had met with Greg and Kathy earlier, and so we have one option of building a dedicated tennis court. It would be back near the other ball diamond.
It's already been moved over to here.
Yeah. Perfect. So we could do a second dedicated court, and that, okay, now, I do not have a contingency in here, and nothing ever goes perfect, so I don't have contingency in here, but it will take an extra $4,000 to build that extra court with the fencing. If you would prefer to do storm drainage out there, no court, you would actually have money left over for contingency of about $17,000. And again, if you don't use all the money, you save $1 of yours, but you're also returning $1 of grant money. So that's how it works out. So you want to run it really close to not leave money on the table. So those are your options. We did talk to the state already, the folks who gifted the money through the ODNR2 funding programs, and they said, as long as you're working with, the same contractor, you can do this as a change order. So we don't have to go out and rebid another court. We can address it all with a change order. And that's why we've given the village some change orders for us, because they did require that they be designed and submitted, whatever improvements be designed and submitted to the state so they can have that for their records. And so we've got that email from Dolores Burlington from whatever date that was. So I guess, talk amongst yourselves. But talk fast, because the sooner we reach out to that contractor and find out what their actual cost is, because again, we estimated the cost for making those improvements. I'm guessing we estimated a little high, but you never know until we actually get that change order. So I think tonight you are hiring a contractor, or awarding a contract, okay? And then from there, if you want to, after you technically hire them, if you want us to give us permission, direction to ask them to try to price out those things, they might be able to give us a closer ballpark. But that is where we're at. So you guys get to spend some extra money on drainage, or, well, you can go off the reservation and buy new playground equipment if you wanted, but I know that court was a real concern.
We spent about 40 minutes the last time trying to decide between pickleball and tennis. I think if this is an option to have a court at the back area, it could be a tennis court, but I would also like to see it with just the basketball on each end of it.
Okay.
You know what? That way it's still kind of multi-purpose. We don't need the three-point line and all that on it. We can leave it just a tennis, but people can at least shoot basketball back there. Greg, you've done a lot on the drainage part of it. You want to share on that?
Everybody got one of these? This is a little drawing that you sent me. I asked Neil from Kleinfelder, eventually we might redo the parking lot back there. So I asked for drainage that would drain the tennis court and also possibly anything in that parking lot. And he came up with some numbers on that paper with that. That's one reason I asked for that, is trying to set up things for later also, and using as much grant money as we can.
Is that the line from along the back of the
he
drive?
did that line, but I said I did not care if we go a direct line.
Right.
And if we have to tear up the existing parking lot, obviously we're going to get fixed anyhow.
Right.
We can do that.
So if we weren't to do the drainage for the upcoming parking lot, that would be a cost to us. Later.
It would be later. We know that with our AEP at the current cost, we definitely have that
parking lot covered plus some. So that plus some could help with our drainage for that in the future.
And then what about maybe the pathway from there to the bridge?
I think that's something that.
We're working on that.
Yeah, we're gonna actually talk about a different funding program for that. There is one called the Recreational Trails Program.
Sure.
It's not due for it's not due again until a little less than a year from now. But that one very specifically funds trails within a park. They don't have to connect to, other points of interest. And that can provide 80% grant, and it is up to $150,000 total. So if you need to, seal the path or, repair different areas of it, that might be a really good application to make in the future.
I think that's something that we're gonna need to be
Yeah.
thinking about. I mean, we patched it and sealed it last year, or the year before.
2 years ago.
2 years already.
But it's in need of.
There's some bad areas.
And that's the great thing about the Recreational Trails Program. It is the only program that's really specifically designed to help fund maintenance of things like that. So it's usually a good fit. What?
I guess to me, there was a couple options here, right?
Okay, yeah.
We can take the 66,000, we've paid you that already, correct?
Have you? I don't.
I think we have. I mean, because the design is done, right?
Yeah, design is done. I don't know what our contract was for assistance during construction. I think we have a little bit of construction observation.
But
I'm not sure.
most of that money, we've already taken out of our funds and paid.
Yeah, you can ask for reimbursement of that if you would like.
So that's one option. Second option is we don't do that, and we put all the money towards, we would have a little money left if we did tennis court and storm.
Mm-hmm.
Or we just do tennis court, and could they possibly, with that chunk of money that is left, see about painting the pickleball courts, or making the fence black instead of galvanized? I mean, those are things that we could also, I'm not trying to make this more difficult than it is, but there's just more options that we could do, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the one thing, here's my word of caution, is I did not allow money for contingency in here. And so, yeah, if you guys have a direction you're more interested in going, like that second court, tell me, hire that contractor, and then we'll be on the phone, before the end of next week saying, all right, you'll want to build another tennis court? And ask them if they'll give us a price, and it may be lower than the engineer's estimate for this, so you may even have a little extra cash left over.
That's my only concern, is that there's no contingency, but when we talked about those numbers, that's still leaving us money, right?
If you're not gonna try to recover the engineer's fees that you've already paid, yeah, you're gonna have.
Yeah, I guess that's what I had in my head.
That's how I figured.
That would be our buffer.
That would be your
the number,
contingency.
So,
And if you haven't looked at the black fence on the new Divergent Diamond overpass, they've put black fence along there now, and it's very sharp.
It's beautiful.
It's a lot nicer.
It would be nice, especially up front along the road.
Yeah.
The galvanized at the back or. Mr. Architect there, what do you think?
I agree. Way to go.
I guess, Greg, what do you think?
Well, I think you guys really should look at the tennis court,
court.
because that was
huge
kind of the
pie,
original
yeah.
from the past council that we kind of.
That way we kind of keep everybody happy.
And I like the idea of throwing a couple basketball hoops on too, because then that gives someone an option back that way.
Or use, yeah. And we know a lot of people go down there to play basketball. Like I said, I've only heard about for tennis. So,
You better be more than. You better be out there every day.
I'm gonna make sure she's there every day.
Okay. We'll have a chair there for you. Didn't say you had to play, but.
if it doesn't go over, well, then we have another court, we could convert, you know,
Right.
so.
Right.
there
And
you-
if
there you
there's a
go.
game up
Yeah.
at the front and people go to play basketball, they have an
Yeah.
option.
Right, yeah. So, I think that's, I'm a vote for
Isn't
tennis.
this a
the
great
tennis
problem
court.
to have?
I'm only one vote.
No, I agree with that, because we talked about it for 45 minutes last time about trying to save the tennis court, so.
It sounds like we already have like a contingency or plan for drainage.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little more.
Pardon me? We already have like something in the works for drainage.
In the future.
Yeah, for the future.
But we could run,
We'll see what the quote comes in
Right.
at, and maybe go from there.
is there drainage under that court?
Yeah, I talked to Neil, there is a 6-inch tile that we could
Tie
take that
into for
drainage
that.
to that.
Okay.
Okay. And then tie into that when we do the parking lot, correct?
When we do the parking lot, yes, I would reroute that back to whatever you want to do.
Okay.
So we all kind of favoring the tennis court and then whatever's extra towards the black fence or colored courts.
Need a motion to accept this?
Yeah, I think at least to do the tennis court and,
I'll make a motion to use our extra funds towards the additional tennis court in the back of the, park.
Mike, you seconded?
Yes.
Any further discussion on that? Do you need anything else, Paulette?
No, what's your preference? Do you want to draw through those two other line items, the storm sewer and updating the master plan, or do you just want me to send you a new contract? And it's little, it's $5,600, or just about $5,400.
We're not doing the other, right?
That new contract is just for.
Oh, it's just a change order for
The change
design,
order,
for,
the
yeah.
design for, okay.
To do the park, or to do the extra court.
So I would take the other two off and just leave the 5375 on there.
Okay, I will email that back over to you tomorrow.
So if we use that, just so I get the number right, so if we consider that 66 our contingency,
We have half of it. Right?
I just want to make sure that we're taking advantage of all the grant dollars.
Yeah, and you know what, order your 2 signs, get that done, it's easy to forget that. But order the 2 signs to get that done, and then we'll talk about other things that we want the contractor to price out, doing the color system on, pickleball, and then switching to galvanized fence on the first court. First court only, or do you want a price for all of them? It's not like there's gonna be any
Why
savings.
don't you ask for a price for all of them, but separate, so
Okay.
we know front court, back court, so
Yeah,
that,
preferably match.
I agree.
Yeah, so price for the.
But there's already galvanized back there at the back,
The
anyway,
black
where all the
fencing.
diamonds.
Like if we had to choose one or the other.
I thought you meant the 2 in the front.
Oh, the 2 in the front, black.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the two in front.
Got it.
I'm thinking the front versus back.
Okay. The front court and then
The 2 front courts.
yeah,
Okay, that's all I have.
yeah.
That was kind of fun. I like it when we have extra money, Paulette. And Tim didn't even have to hand any over.
You were worried, weren't you?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? So then, Haley, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Rivas? Yes. Mr. Fraser?
Yes.
Mrs. Sunderland?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill? Yes. Mrs. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherry?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, thanks, Kate.
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good meeting.
You too, thank you.
Take a cupcake.
Oh,
Yeah.
see
Mr. Dollar.
Is that my name? Oh. Didn't know I was going to say this, but I guess I'm going to. So, we mentioned maybe 2 years ago that we were going to try and open a Christian school at our church, and we are so close. This week we got the county inspection with Wood County and the state inspection, and then hopefully if that goes well, about 4 or 5 months we're going to open. So, we'll see what happens. But The reason I'm bringing this up is, one of the things I've had to do is deal for the past 2 years with policies, codes, and regulations, and the bureaucracy has been crazy, and it's been such a headache. But I brought this up because, not to say that we have a bunch of bureaucracy, but I did want to miss this right here, this solar thing that we've got. I talked to Kathy a little bit about it. I was hoping, Greg, maybe you could open up and talk about this the solar update to our policy or code regulations for Macomb.
We have not totally updated that yet, correct?
Yes.
It is still in the works. I think it's more, I think the big thing was more how far you can be off the property line.
Setbacks.
The
from the
setbacks.
property lines on the back and the sides.
Okay.
So basically the height of your whatever solar thing you have vertically needs to be that far off of the line.
Yes.
Correct?
Okay.
Yeah, and then also or whichever's greater based off of the zone. So if it's 30 feet from the back from zoning and you only have a 12-foot high, you have to stay the 30 feet on the setback.
Okay. Setback, is that the whole perimeter of the property, or is that, like, when you say setback, is that from the road?
No, it's from normally it would be from the back of the property behind the building.
Okay.
Every property has side setbacks, front setbacks.
Yeah. Right, that's what we're talking about. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. And that's all that's gonna be updated? That's the only thing that you know of that's gonna be?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, other than was in our original, I mean, that's not gonna be updated, but it's gonna be a part of, if you do a land, on the ground, then you still have to have fencing and all that good stuff. But if you roof mount, then, everything's contained, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. And is it only regulated, I try to look at our policy and what we currently have. Is if it's grid tied, is that really the issue, or is it even the ones that are just going to the battery? I've got my own solar set up in my backyard, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
And it's just in case the power goes out, my freezer still got power, because you don't want to lose your freezer contents.
Right.
And I remember one time since we've been here in 8 years, the power went out, and it's like over 24 hours we had no power.
Right.
So it's those kind of things, and I know that we've got power prices going up, you got water prices going up, fuel prices, food prices, inflation. You got warnings from Homeland Security for brownouts to blackouts, from terrorist attacks to simply just our data centers and using more power than what we're currently generating. And so it's just a new issue with the power stuff. People are trying to find backup solutions. What I don't want to do is find us in a regulation loophole where people can't have a backup means just in case to cover their freezer.
Right.
That's me personally.
Yeah.
And then we have to figure something else out, so.
So yeah, really, the only thing, like I said, the biggest thing we didn't have anything specified for setbacks.
Okay.
As far as even from the side and from the back lot of the property.
Okay.
Because in there, it states that it has to be located in the back part of the property behind the building, site-wise view to block any glare or anything from
Right.
from people.
So you don't shine someone's windows
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Very good. That's thank you.
And Jeff,
Yes, ma'am.
are you looking to start kindergarten first for your school?
K through 6. This is my head of school here, so you can ask her questions if you like.
You're
But
going to look to do K-6 at the beginning,
Mhm.
not rotate them up after a few years.
Well, our initial plan is for the elementary school, and then the school will just continue to grow with them. We are looking to get through these major hurdles, open up enrollment, and see what it looks like from
Okay.
there. Yeah.
I didn't know if you were doing K-1 and then the next year, okay, K-1, 2.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, we've got a lot of kids right now at the church. Don't have a whole lot of the olders,
Mhm.
so makes sense for us to drop through that
Oh,
little
yeah.
group, so and grow with them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What church?
Macomb Church of Christ.
Christ, okay.
Yeah. August, September, hopefully we're going to open. That's the goal.
Okay, we'll jump down then to, I don't think anyone else had checked they wanted to talk tonight. Jump down to committee reports. PMP, Mike?
Yes. So the March 12, 2026 PMP meeting, Jeremy was present, provided a run summary report to the board, reported that there were 12 runs for the month of February, and reported there were no problems with any of the squads. He reported as dealing with DEA on the new rule and regulations on drugs. He stated that the drug boxes will be utilized because they have to start locking up some of the stuff. And, just in case anybody would get into them, so there would be a computer that would track each entry and closure and just store this information, and he's looking for appropriate box and security systems in order to comply. That's pretty much that part of the show.
Thank you.
For PMP.
Fire?
And the fire is, let's see, we had a presentation from PEP on an insurance and to compete with VFIS and our business, and we elected to stay with PEP, and which was a good thing, I believe, from everything that they presented to us and what offers we have also with them. There were 5 runs, none were mutual aid, and then coming up on May 3rd from 11 to 1, we got a chicken, the fire department has a chicken barbecue and a gun raffle. You can get any tickets from any fireman or village office, or if you need some, I've got some too. So,
Did we ever get any gun
the only thing I got was gun raffle.
Oh, I gotta make sure swap a few.
Yeah, I got some gun raffle.
Okay, any questions for Mike then? Okay, thank you. Jamie, cemetery?
I provided you guys with the approved minutes from January's meeting, so those are for you to have for your record. Other than that, at our last meeting, we discussed the contract for Village Office and Township, which I believe we'll get to later, and our new lawnmowers, and there's another tree that might need to come down, and there's some garage door issues that this estimate is working on.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Mike, planning and zoning.
All righty. Planning and zoning on March 18th. Myself, Greg, and Kathy, and Troy Steinberg were all present, and we did some review with the ordinance, and then also decided that we would finalize the ordinance modifications with also the wind turbine section. That way, it's broke out in a section where it has the solar in its own entity under the same code, just an S behind it for the solar, and then a W behind it for wind, and have them kind of broke out in that subcategory. So I'll have to get that completed and submitted to Rob after our next meeting. So under new business, the right-of-way of parking on South Liberty and any other places in town. The issue that was discussed about the parking on the east side of Liberty at Bond and Preble intersection. And it was decided at that time that Greg would reach out and speak to both residents and to resolve any issues there. And then 2, Greg Reed is requesting a variance for his building, and Greg sent out letters to the neighbors of the adjoining lots for approval, and I'm not sure if you got them back yet or not. But
What's that, sorry?
did you get the letters back from any of the approvals for the properties, adjoining property?
I sent the letters out and I got nothing back, just they come to the meeting.
Oh, okay.
On Wednesday.
All right, okay. And then supplemental banking ITM. AJ Enterprises has been in discussion with the VFW for an ITM ATM, which is owned by the VFW, the parking lot across the street. And the plans are to be put it on the north side of the lot, which is the entrance. The entrance will be on the west side of the lot, coming off of Liberty Street to turn into it, and then you head north, and then turn east, and then go to the ATM, and then exit out from east. That way, you're not right up by at the four-way stoplight or the street light there, and at that intersection. That way, hopefully, everything's easy in and out, and I think it's a positive thing. I've heard a lot of good comments from village community to try to keep something here and moving forward.
The postcard's been out?
Yep. All right, that's all I have.
Any questions for Mike? Then we'll need to approve those minutes.
Yep.
I'll motion to approve the planning and zoning meeting minutes from March 18th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passed. Haley, do you want to talk a little bit about this evening?
Yeah, so Parks and Rec met before council tonight. Just a couple of things. The Park District grant that we got for Field 1, their ed is going to come in and complete that Monday and Tuesday. And softball should be good to play starting Wednesday. As far as the front of the park, grant, the state capital budget, that will be announced in May on who gets that. The batting cage, do I have to get approval from council too?
When we approve your minutes, you can say that the motion was made during.
Okay, okay. The batting cages, that's been in discussion for a couple months. We were waiting for Field 1 to be done, but we can start that as early as next weekend. But I did ask, on behalf of softball, I asked Parks and Rec Committee if they would be willing to cover the cost of stone, because the concrete pad is alone, just the concrete pad itself is $31.50. That softball will be covering with sponsorships and stuff. But the motion was made for council to cover up to $1,000 for stone towards the batting cage. I don't think it'll be that much, but again, I have no idea. I am not in that field. But those are the main things. I guess the other thing is lifeguards. We have 3 applicants. Yeah, I think that's pretty much sums it up.
So we need more lifeguards, folks?
Have a couple more.
Pardon?
It'd be nice to have just a couple more.
Yeah.
Are you doing
Do you have bleach feathers?
I would love to be one.
I was gonna say,
They're always happy with them.
we'll get more concerned in May.
Yeah. Yeah, they're usually late stragglers.
But Maine usually gets better every year.
Okay.
Like,
Is he coming back?
as of right now, yes, but it's not, I don't have 100%.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
Parks and Recs.
I will get on that this week. I'll get on that.
On what?
Maybe get some answers.
Yeah.
For lifeguards?
For him giving his.
Oh, for Randy.
Yeah, for him to say, are you or are you not? That's what I had to do last year. So.
You did a nice job, thank you.
Peer pressure got him.
Thank you. Take
all
the cupcake.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay.
Man,
And I think that covers all of our committee reports.
he did do a good job.
Do we have any old business? New business, I mentioned Abby Cook will be a part-time utility clerk, administrative assistant, looking about 24 hours a week. We did offer her at $17.50 an hour with a review after 6 months. So I would like that as a motion, please.
What's her start date?
Pardon?
What's her start date?
We believe maybe the 27th
was going to give the hospital her 2-week notice. I did tell her we had hoped to have it a little sooner. She works 6:30 to 10:30 now.